So are you ready for another update on the Senko? That little booger right there, you're ready to run and gun. It's time for blast off. Let's go. Hey guys, Todd here with you. Welcome back to Bassin 101. I thought I'd geek out for this, for the Yamamoto stuff. The Yamamoto Senko. Again, another video about the Yamamoto Senko. I've thrown this a lot this year. Most of you guys know I've been out for about a year because of my rotator cuffs. And, got back on the water about April, early May. And I've been throwing this a lot. This has saved my butt a lot this year. And I did a video on the different ways that you can throw a Senko. And they all work. Don't get me wrong. They all work. But I've narrowed it down to what I would use for a Senko. As far as my most successful deals, to me, it still boils down to line twist and hang-ups. That to me is the big deal. Line twist is the most important. But as far as hang-ups, if I'm constantly getting hung up like every fifth cast, that gets a little... It makes you want to say words you don't want to say. So I have narrowed it down to 3 different ways I throw a Senko. You guys are going to differ from this, and I fully understand. Fishing from a kayak and fishing from a bass boat or even a john boat are 2 different things, because a kayak is water level, a john boat is sub-water level where you're sitting on a post on a seat, and then bass boat is the upper level because you stand up and fish these things. That's going to be the least amount of hang-ups. Now, as far as techniques, I still go with the 4-rod EWG rig Texas style. Okay? And don't forget, because I tend to forget sometimes, don't forget a flat toothpick, not a round toothpick. You want a flat toothpick because you can sharpen it and put that dude right through the eye of that hook. Okay? So when you rig the Senko up, I showed you this on the last video, when you rig that dude up, you want to rig it right to the edge of that hook, as far as a hook eye. Ram your toothpick in there so it'll stay on there, okay? Don't use super glue, because this has got salt. You're going to melt it. There you go. Now, the other hook I use is a rear weight. Now this is different from the other one I showed you guys. Is a lighter hook and a rear weight with a center pin screw eye. I like the center pin so you can get that sucker right in there and screw that Senko on there. I don't like a screw that just starts. I hate those things. You'll tear up your head in a heartbeat. I don't care what plastic you use. You want that centering pin right there. That's the most important thing. If your hook doesn't have one and you love the hook that you use, take it off. You can go on eBay and find these dudes in different sizes and just snap it on your hook and replace it. There you go. This is roughly about a 3/32 ounce, almost a 1/16. That's the size I like, that I can use and rig that Senko up like that. The hook is about, I think it's a 3/0. It might even be a 4/0. It's about a 3/0. This is what I use when I want to get that Senko down, say in deeper water. or if I'm fishing through brush piles and I want that thing to sink faster, but you also want your weight towards the back of that hook, like I've explained before, because you don't want the Senko nosing down with this kind of rig. Because what happens is when they hit it, you have to turn that hook upwards to get the hook, in the fish, and it doesn't always work out very well. So the further back that you can find that weight to go, the better off you're going to be. Now, somebody sent me an email a while back about, well, what if you did this like you did a Senko and put a nail weight in there, which I did a video on that, on the water. What if you put a small nail weight in there and the hook? Well, I did that. First time I ever did it on a Senko. And, Sluggo, it works perfectly. Senko, don't do that. In the video, you noticed I said that I think it was the last video I did. I was actually using a Senko with a small little nail weight in there. We're talking about that long. A Lunker City nail weight. And I held the hook up and it was twisting. And I said that Senko rig had twisted my line. It was that nail weight. And what happened was, it was causing that hook to ride up, ride down, ride up, ride down. Because that nail weight on that Senko was causing, a lot of times as you were reeling it in, that bait to go like this. Not when you're fishing it. When it's fishing it, I actually noticed it going down just like it does. You start reeling it in, now it wants to twist just like this because you have weight on top, weight on bottom, and because of the salt, now you're having more weight on top. Don't use a nail weight. It will twist your line worse than a corkscrew. So I have the weightless Senko. I have the belly weighted Senko, which is also good in the wintertime. If you're fishing 10 to 15 foot of water, you're fishing a lot of brush, you can let that dude go all the way to the bottom and barely just pull it and let it sink. You pull it and just let it sink. It's good for wintertime fishing. These things are great in the winter. Last but not least, I just did a video on this, the Geeka Jika Zika rig. G-rig as we call it here, but the G-rig. And I explained that in one of the most recent videos I just did. Those are the three ways I fish it. Weightless Senko, the weighted belly Senko, and a Jika rig, Giga rig, Zika rig. Whatever you want to call it, rig. Those are the three I have for this. Now as far as colors, still debating on colors. I got an old Plano Sidekick here that's got 4 different colors in this one. I have green pumpkin, black blue flake, watermelon moon dust. Love that for like shad style imitations. And then I call it plum, but it's basically cinnamon with the red and blue flake, but to me it kind of looks like a plum because the red and blue gives it a purplish color in the water. But those are the 4 colors I have here. Doesn't mean it's all the colors I throw. That's just for, in this box, this is what I have. I also like pumpkin, black and green flake. I like cinnamon. I also like salt and pepper. Is also a really good color. June bug is also a really good color. There's a lot of different ones out there. But if I had to have 4 and call it a day, those would be the 4 I would do right there. But that's just me. And if I had to really narrow everything down, that's pretty much how I would do it. Just like that. So that's all I got for that today, guys. Just a little update on the Senko, what I've learned this year, my favorite rigs. By the way, I know a lot of you guys are going to ask about that Nico rig. Loved the Nico rig. I thought it was great. I even caught a bass on the Nico rig. What sold me off of that Nico rig was I was fishing a brush pile and I was fishing back in the brush pile as far as I can get where the kayak can't go. And on a Nico rig with a weedless hook, got a hung and lost the rig. Not only that, it broke at the knot of the leader. From braid to leader, it broke at the knot, behind the knot, so the whole leader, everything broke. I was like, you know what? Screw it. That's why I haven't thrown Nico since. I'm not preaching against the Nico. If you like throwing that and you catch a lot of bass on it, don't change. Me personally, I don't like getting hung up. I like throwing my stuff in the back of barbed wire and getting it out and make the next pitch. And if I have a rig that won't do that, I'm not going to throw it. That's just the way I am. I know I'm kind of weird. That's all I got today, guys. I hope this helps you out a little bit. This is what I have come up after 6-7 months of fishing a Senko, having to save my butt several times. And those are the 3 different ways I throw it. And those are the 3 I'm going to stick with. So, you go with what you know. Confidence is the final key. It really is. I mean, in every tackle box, your most important lure is confidence. Ask Bill Dance. He'll tell you. Anyway, until next time, guys, may the Father bless you and keep you in Yeshua's name. And as always, fish on.